Megan?
Hey, man.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
Sunny outside, no snow, no rain. Beautiful day.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah. Craig had to throw it in there, huh?
Thanks, Mr. Sunshine.
Yeah.
Always Mr. Positive.
But you know what? Being indoors, it doesn't affect you a bit, does it?
That's
right.
true.
Come rain
Yeah,
or
now if you get wet, you got a more serious problem.
this is true. This is true. Yes, sir.
But then you could turn your roofer into a client, so there's, a plus side.
Plus
That's
side, I
true.
like it. I like it.
It's all good. So, Bruce, how is your world?
You know what? It's shining bright, 100%.
Where are you
yeah.
today?
So I'm working remotely.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I work from home at the moment. We're going to be changing a lot of the ways that the trainers are approaching it, just because we're grounded. So I do go on Monday mornings. I do go to the Tim Knuckles agency. They do continue their Monday morning meeting, but yeah,
Cool.
on Zoom calls every day. Have to.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Boom. Who are we missing? I know we're missing Miss Terry, Babette.
Babette has a presentation in 10 minutes. So I don't know that she's going to be joining us, but we got quite a few people missing still.
Wasn't this
Yeah.
Wasn't this for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
So yeah. Yeah, there's about at least 10, 11 people on here.
Yeah.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Sam. They're muted. Don't know.
Hi.
Hey, is that Steve?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So, Steve, where's their beautiful smiling face? What's up, brother?
I'm more of an amateur on today.
It's all right. And there's Sam, just listening in.
Yeah, if I turn on the video and audio at the same time, it slows down my connection immensely.
Gotcha.
That'll do it.
All these people living out in the boonies.
Well, that's a good tip to know.
Hey now.
No, that's a good tip that you turn one of them off. You definitely want to hear everybody in real time. Tony D.
Hey. Yeah.
Hey, Tony.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Amanda.
My camera thing's not working for some reason.
Did you break it?
But you're saving on your speed so we can hear you great.
Well, it's just saying is unable to detect a camera, but it worked yesterday, so I don't know what the deal is. So you guys just get a black box for me.
Yeah.
That's all right.
All right. Well, hey, let's give it about 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we'll get started. This is our first one. Guys, Bruce has been generous enough with his time that we kind of talked about this being a weekly reoccurring process for us. Just another resource, and to give us an ability to come together, see each other, realize that I'll steal a line from the government, I guess, alone together. Now we all realize we can spend some time alone together. So.
Hey, Derek.
Hey, Edie, I like your background. Well decorated.
Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Bruce, rude. Like, you don't like mine as my headboard? And what?
I love the painting. It's super. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, man.
I can see your fan spinning.
I know. It gets really hot in here whenever I'm like by myself and talking all day. I'm like,
It's funny. I get on these Zoom meetings all the time with the company, and Bruce, you've been on several of them, and there's 90 to 100 people on them, and it's become kind of a game to see who can have the most unique background. And you can download all these virtual backgrounds that you can have that's behind you. So you can put yourself in Busch Stadium, or you can put, so it's fun to log into them and see some of the crazy backgrounds that people come up with. A couple of my personal favorites, anything to do with Tiger King. We've got a lot of Tiger King backgrounds that have been popping up. I thought, I'd say those people are crazy. If you're just looking for some, I want to make myself feel better, like Jerry Springer show stuff, Tiger King. So.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you know what? Chuck and I started watching that Good Girls.
Oh yeah, that's a good show too.
That's good.
And
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
Brian,
So,
Bruce.
man.
Not much.
all right, 1 more minute here. Just see what we got.
There you go.
Hey, see? Every time
That's
I say
awesome.
that, we get a pop on.
Go exotic.
Yeah.
The guys on there with the teeth, they're really bothering me, man. Like, no teeth issue.
Hey, Jen,
Big issue.
Harry.
All right. We got a whole fan family here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Diana, that one I like a lot for like a real presentation, although I think you'd score some points with the other one too. It just depends.
Right? Just depends on who it is.
Yes. Javier Sandoval is one of the directors. Bruce knows this guy. He keeps throwing up a Broncos stadium. He keeps putting himself in the Broncos stadium. And I haven't come up with a good, I'm thinking about Mahomes holding the Super Bowl trophy behind me on the next one to go ahead and prove a point.
Awesome.
All right, well, let's get started. Like I was saying, this is going to be a reoccurring. Bruce has been generous with his time on Wednesdays, just kind of a halftime touch base call where we get together. You have the ability to ask some questions from a corporate perspective with Bruce being our worksite trainer. You know, I don't want this to be a reporting call. I want this to be a nice, Bruce. I want this to be an informative question and answer, feedback conversation call. Best practices, so to speak. So really, Bruce is going to be running this thing. I'll let him field questions from you guys individually. Let him speak on the systems and some successes he knows that are out there. And then Wednesdays, this will be open to you from 4 to 5. Just like how Monday we run our virtual Monday and we have our classes. And so this right here will be a resource that you can use on Wednesday. And then Friday, you guys know we're going to have the virtually winning call in place of our Zoom meeting. And that way, it feels like a real work week. I think for a little while, it almost felt like every day was a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday. They just kind of ran together. So now with our Monday, our virtual Monday set and the structure we have, and then with Bruce here on Wednesdays from 4 to 5, and then our end of the week wrap up call on Fridays, we should all know what day it is every day. And we know Monday is an important day, so we're going to get back to making sure that it's an important day and set the tone for the rest of the week for us and give us a little bit of normalcy. I don't know if that's a word. I'm making it up. If it is not, I'm going to go to my Scrabble dictionary, and a little bit of structure. So, all right. With that said, Bruce, take it away. It's, like I said, kind of an open format here. I'm going to work on my camera.
So first off, Mr. Larry. No, he's
Yeah. that guy he's one of the chairman of the board. So that is Steve and Mike's boss.
Oh yeah. He likes what he sees, guys. Look at this.
That's the best smile you're gonna get from that guy.
Hey, look at that. All right. So first things first, guys. I want to appreciate you guys for getting on this call. The big thing is that, you know, we're in this together. And at the end of the day, we really want to make sure that you guys are, you know, knowing that you can reach out at any point in time to be able to ask any questions, concerns, comments. So at this point right now, really want to hear from the leaders at this point. You know, what comments, questions, or concerns may you have that are, you know, that you've run into that could potentially, you know, help others in this particular situation. So let's start with Derek. Can you hear me?
You're muted.
Myself.
Yeah, there you go.
What was your question now? You were asking me.
Yeah, what questions, comments, or concerns do you currently have? I mean, do you feel like, you know, a whole lot has changed? Do you feel like, you know, we're making the progress we need, or what in particular do you currently see that we need to address?
Yeah, I think a lot has changed, but I think we're making progress and coming out with the scripts and everybody being able to make their calls. I want to ask you, I have one question. I watched the training video yesterday for the Doc Hub, and I wanted to know, are you familiar with that at all?
Absolutely.
So it's a great tool, and it's a great training video. Watched it explain it clearly, and I like how they could sign just right there on their phone, and you can put their signatures on their paperwork on the Section 125, and you can also use it on the payrollization form. The question is, why is that not sufficient enough? So why do you still have to put together the email where they had to type agree and reply all on? Why is that not good enough? Because they are physically signing, and they're signing from their phone.
So the reason being, my man, is for the computers, for the computer particularly, because you have to have some sort of them physically typing into the computer. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's what that email's for. As far as the payroll deduction authorization, that's what the Doc Hub is easiest for. Just because we can't use Doc Hub to have them sign the actual policy or the actual computer e-app. So that's just to allow them to say, hey, I typed your name into the e-app.
Okay, so you still have to do both.
Correct.
All right, gotcha.
And it's just for the particular the e-app, my man. It's just to make sure that, because even now, guys, we got to make sure that the people that we're enrolling, right? So if this didn't happen at all, we would still have to make sure that the people that, you know, we sold the policy to, that they're the ones physically typing their name in the e-app. Because during the quality call, that's one of the questions that gets asked about, did you sign the computer copy, or did you sign or did you type your name in the computer? And that's one of the things that legal put out there, so that way we can make sure that this whole enrollment virtual approach works out on the e-app.
Okay.
But Doc Hub could be used for paperwork. It could be used for the payroll deduction authorization, things of that nature. You know, the employee list. That way, it allows you to have just that utilization of the signatures in that fashion. But that I agree is particularly for the electronic version.
Well, yeah, it's a great tool. I really liked it. Hell, you can even use it for changing enrollments too, to get them to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You could use it for down the road. The cool thing is that no one even knew about that until this all happened. So there's some good coming of this all. 100%. Good question, my man. So other than that, man, what else would you like to really bring to the table at this point? Because there's a couple of things I'm going to cover, but I just kind of wanted to reach out to the leadership and seeing what their insight is.
The biggest thing I would suggest is just trying to keep structure. Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
So we're still using the 10 blocks of time, I would assume?
Yes. Through Google Drive.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Good, guys. Nothing changes. 85 to 90% of our practices, guys, don't change. You know, we're still doing the walk-ins. You know, we're still doing what we need to, but we're doing it virtually, right? So the script particularly stays the same. We've added a couple of rebuttals to get through the, you know, my employee, you know, I'm laying off my people. I'm going out of business. So, you know, 80% of what we're doing now hasn't changed, you know, but we just enhanced it to fit the virtual approach.
Hey, Chris, I do have one question for you. Terry brought this to my attention the other day. She was getting one rebuttal that I have not seen anybody give any advice on, or home office give a script for yet. Whenever she calling on businesses, she was running into a lot of, oh, the decision maker isn't here today. They're working remotely. And if they're working remotely, they're not giving out their contact information for you to call them. They're basically just giving her just an email, just to send an email over to her, and that's pretty much it. So she was running into a
So
lot.
in that case, what I would say, this isn't something that's scripted. I think that's a huge thing. I think we're definitely going to get that. One thing that I would recommend is potentially asking if there's someone else that gets delegated that particular role, right? So if he's working remotely and there's absolutely no way of getting to him, I would recommend just asking about the delegation and who's that being delegated to, and that way they can get transferred to that particular person. And that would be much more of a person that you want to get in contact with, because again, I understand the DM's not one that would be just randomly giving out their number, whereas someone that is an HR representative or an HR director, I would say, would more rather than be able to get a hold of you to be able to go forward with this. But I'm going to take a note of this and discuss it with the worksite training team as well, because that's definitely a good thing to really go over as well. Let's see. I think I saw something in the chat here. All right.
Bruce, it's the same objection that Derek just said. I sent an email to Rusty and asked for a rebuttal, but I haven't heard anything back on that. That we have several agents getting that that objection. So we could use some
guys. I mean,
feedback.
I'll tell you. Right. The biggest thing, guys, is don't let that be a closed door for you. I would recommend opening up an opportunity at this point, trying to find another point of contact. Is this something that we would typically practice out in the field? We would not. But because we are over the phone and we want to just continuously create massive action by asking about the delegation, who's a much better person for me to get in contact with, right? That's just another way of, okay, not a problem, no big deal. Who do we need to contact to be able to talk about these benefits, right? Or about how we can better their employees while they're working right now. One that we have been getting is we're laying people off. Follow up with me in May when this all blows over. There is a script for that. It has been working. It's just all in the delivery of it all, and just making sure that you're making it. The rapport is really where a lot of people got to make sure that they're powering down on. Making sure you're asking open-ended questions, bringing up some research you've done prior. A lot of it too is how are all your calls just consisting of new calls, or are they businesses that you've been into before? We have been able to see that people who contact businesses that they've been into before, where they presented to the DM or maybe have seen the DM and DM, they're more likely to get some time with that DM to follow up, because now their business is dealing with employees that are coming to him and saying, I don't know what to do. I have this and this going on. What can I do? Or maybe they're going through something, and so the DM, this is something that's on their mind as well. So yes, to answer your question, I would recommend just working and finding out a way to get to the next person that would get delegated to. If there's no way to get transferred, or there's no one that you can get a hold of, guys, that's just another follow-up. Whenever this all blows over, that'll be just another business for you to go to and just do it traditionally. But at this point, that'll be something that once that has been exhausted, it's not a closed door, but it's just another way of, again, looking at it in that perspective. Oh, great stuff, guys. I really love this. That's one that I haven't heard yet. So huge. Thank you. I will say, guys, so let's say sometimes when we do get that, guys, you got to think too, there probably hasn't been enough rapport built with the gatekeeper as well. If you're going straight into the script and you're trying to get to the DM to get transferred and trying to get that kind of information, if you don't connect with that gatekeeper from the first time you talk to them, the chances of you even getting that information is very minimal. So by just building more rapport, saying, hey, good morning, Miss Sally. My name is Bruce. What are you up to this morning? Or what are you up to this afternoon? Right? How are you taking the entire situation? I'm doing okay, making sure I'm blessed to have my job. Oh, awesome. That's great to hear. I've heard of a lot of other people that have been thankful for that as well. What's it like at home, right? I've got the kiddos, right? Oh yeah, my husband's taking care of them while I'm working full time. Wow, that's so commendable. hey, Sally, would you do me a favor and transfer me over to Jack and let him know that Bruce is calling? Okay. And then at that point, if she says that he's not available, okay, great, no problem. What is a better number for me to reach him at directly? And then they may say, what is this regarding? What is this regarding? And then that's whenever you say, well, actually, Sally, I was able to find out that you guys are, that Steve or Sal or the DM, he qualifies for our Worksite Advantage program that can really help out in situations like this. And it only takes a few minutes to go over. Like I said, what is a good time for me to call him, or what is a better phone number for me to reach him at? Following it up in that fashion will allow you to then have a higher probability. Is it guaranteed? Absolutely not. But you're just increasing the probability of getting that. We have people to this day that are getting cell phone numbers for DMs to get contacted just because they've done such a good job connecting well with the gatekeeper and being able to deliver it well enough to the point where they're just comfortable about saying, okay, yeah, absolutely, contact him. We need something to help out in these times. Boom. The big thing, guys, I'll say, aside from that, is activity levels. We got to have massive action. In times of uncertainty, massive action is the #1 way of getting through it all. And I'll tell you what, worst case scenario, with the massive action approach, what's going to happen is you're going to have your pipeline so built up. And I mean, because people have told you, hey, follow up with me in May, follow up with me in June. So that when it's all, when it's all and over with, you have people directly that you've talked to that have said, hey, come back and talk to me. Even if, let's say, you have a chance to present the 2 DMs over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks, and those 2 DMs said, hey, I love what you got. Right now, it's just not a good time. You rebutted them. You couldn't work through it. But the cool thing is you got an opportunity to present, guys. You got an opportunity to keep building on your skill set so that way when you're out in the field, you're not getting rusty. You're not getting unconfident. You're still ready to rock when this is all back to the way it was. So I want to keep encouraging you guys to shoot for that committed. Are you guys on the webinars, I would assume, as well? I know you guys are big on that too.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the webinar today, good. So the webinar today talked about 25 contacts an hour. That's definitely a huge goal. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I love that, though. Having goals of that nature, of that caliber, during times like this allows someone to, again, have that consistency in results when it comes to having that pipeline built. So at first we were discussing it and we said 25 dials, right? So 25 dials, but if we did that, that wouldn't allow us to be able to have a set number when it comes to how many people do we need to have in contact. So we then made it contacts, guys. So want to shoot for 25 contacts, take it one step at a time, right? So one day commit to 20, right? So let's say I shoot for 25 my first day and I only hit 17. Okay, not a problem. Let's get tomorrow, right? I mean, the next hour, 17 an hour. So let's say the first hour, I only get 17. Okay, not a problem. Let's take this from a 4 to a 5. So let's go from 17 to 18 the next hour, right? That's just something good for you guys to shoot for. And then that'll allow you guys to have the consistent activity for you guys to follow through when this is all said and done and we're then building going forward. Now, ADs, do you guys have the suggested call schedule?
Yes.
In the email?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Now, this is just recommended for those that don't have a current routine or a current schedule in place. If you have something in place, all power to you. That's awesome. You guys are business owners, but that's particularly something to really have that structure in your day. Start at 8 to 11. We have people that are going from 9, or actually 8 to 10. Some people are going from 9 to 11. And then we have people going from 1 to 3, 2 to 4. But it's that consistent routine to keep the business going. That's really what's important, just keeping that structure. So with you guys using your 10 blocks of time, make sure that you guys are having your committed be according to how many calls you're being committed to. So if you're committing to, let's say, 20 contacts an hour, okay? Put that on there. Make sure you have, so let's say you call for 3 hours. That's 60 contacts per call period. So that's a total of 120 total contacts. And if we're seeing a total of 25% of the DMs, let's do the math on that. Pulling out my calculator now. So that's 30 DMs, guys. So that's 30 DMs. Right now, if you're sitting at a 30% conversion rate, you're going to be able to set between 6 to 9 appointments by consistently using that form of activity. Now, with 6 to 9 appointments, guys, that'll get you your 1 close per week with that consistency and activity. Now, worst case, now again, that's not even a worst case scenario like we talked about back. So, worst case scenario, let's say that doesn't even get accomplished, but you do manage to again have that pipeline built up. Not only that, but you have your skill set. You've kept up with your skill set development. Part 2, guys, is the massive action behind it all. Derek, I know I appreciate your input, man. Thank you for that. Now let's move on to good old Brian, my man. Share it with us. What other questions, comments, or concerns have you been running into?
Derek's really was one of mine together. The other thing that I've been running into trouble with, and I'm sure everybody has been, is just getting responses back. So like if we did get the cell phone numbers from the employees or their home phone numbers, but man, just getting responses. It's just like, it seems like it's crickets on, 75, 80% of these text messages and these phone calls we're sending out, just nothing. I don't know if there's any better way to word this. I mean, we've got some scripts out there where we're getting the people that are talking to us. We're selling, but it just seems like the response rate is just unbelievably low.
And believe it, guys, that's the true nature of calling, right? That's the true nature of it, and we're feeling it. We're finding out that people who were just killing it in the field are having struggle in just over the phone because they're so used to the 30% DMs that they're able to see and the amount of conversions that they can have. We're dealing with, at the end of this, guys, I'm sure we're all going to love getting back out in the field and practicing like we used to 100%. But I can't say, my man, is that massive action is your solution at this point. Consistently having that activity to where it needs to be so that, like we talked about on a worst case scenario, you're going to have your pipeline built. You're going to have DMs that you would have at least talked to over the phone. And if not presented, at least talk to, so that way you can have that relationship going into the opening of this all. So, definitely, guys, huge concern there. But overall, like we talked about, the only way to really get through that is massive action in times of uncertainty like that.
Okay.
The only thing, because think about it, the only thing you can control is your dialing, the activity level, right? Very similar to when you're out in the field. That's all you control is the number of walk-ins that you can get into.
I was going to ask you, well, how many times do you reach out to these people before you call it quits? Like, how many times do you text them? How many times do you call them before it's like, all right, they're obviously not going to answer? Is it just kind of playing by ear type thing, or?
You want to call them? Gosh, man, there was a gentleman. So Chris Jackson, one of the gentlemen one of the directors, he was in real estate, and he would have his calling reps call 5 times a day, right? And he was getting more receptiveness from that because of the fact of the time of day that they were calling. So I would recommend not so much 5 times a day, but I would say even 2 to 3 times a day.
Okay.
Call 1 in the morning. Yep. Call once in the morning, call once in the afternoon, or call once in the morning, once right before lunch, and then once closer to the evening.
Okay.
So 3 times a day, and that counts as a call in or another contact. So that's something else you can log into Epic.
Well, you're talking about prospecting. I think Brian's talking about enrolling.
Yeah,
right?
I'm talking enrolling.
Because you don't want to bother these people with businesses too much.
No. Yeah. Thanks for clarifying that. No, I'm talking about enrolling, like when I get phone numbers for employees and I have their numbers to reach out to them and obviously, try to enroll them. But I'm getting nothing back. So how many times do I reach out to these employees before I keep doing it that many times?
So at this point, guys, it's going to get to one thing that I've seen people do is they contact the DM directly. You said 80% of people don't answer.
I would say out of everything, the ones that are, I don't know, probably maybe 60, 75%. In that, I'm probably getting 1 out of 4 people that I'm actually talking to. Something like that.
Okay. So let's think about a way of, okay, so let's say the DM, right? He's the guy who's the most influential in this case. I would recommend getting everybody that you have contacted and that everything went well, and then approaching the conversation in that fashion. Hey, John, I was giving you a shout out because so far I was able to talk to X amount of your people. They were awesome to get to know. This many people were the ones that invested in protecting their families. However, I've been having a little bit of trouble getting a hold of these other employees, and I want to make sure that you guys stay in compliance with the Section 125 guidelines, and want to make sure that everybody does get the opportunity. And if they're not interested in anything, they just have to sign off virtually to make sure that they were given the opportunity. So is there, can you go ahead and send everybody a quick text message or a follow-up email? That way we can get this moving. Right.
Okay.
But I would recommend
have them reach out to the employees to tell them to, like, you know, kind of light a fire under them to reach out to me or something, or to get this done.
Yeah. But make sure you approach it on a positive note. Let them know, hey, look, listen, John, I've had a great time talking to so-and-so and had X amount of people, actually, answer their phone, and we've had X amount of people actually participate, but I haven't had a chance to talk to everybody virtually. So I need your help, right? You can even use that. Asking for the help. Don't be afraid to ask for it. Hey, John, I need your help. I really want to make sure your company stays protected and that you guys stay under the Section 125 compliance. So I just got to make sure everybody gets the opportunity. What would you recommend? Even ask him what would he recommend be the best way to get in contact with them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, appreciate it.
But yes, to answer your next question, I would recommend calling them about 2 to 3 times minimum.
Okay.
And Brian, I would add, like, if you've only sent a text, I would make sure you're calling too.
Yeah,
oh, you are? Okay. And then I was going to say, make sure you're calling in the evening. I would find out when they get off of work and then call them, because you're going to have more, I don't know, I'm having more success calling them when they get off work than during the day hours.
Okay.
That's huge. That's huge too. Yep.
And remember, Brian, you got 2 numbers, so if they don't pick up on one, call them from your other one.
One thing too that I've had happen, guys, is there was an agency director out of Nebraska, and he actually had the DM have his computer set up with Zoom, and the employees would come into his office and sign up right then and there out of the DM's office.
Oh, that's nice.
One by one, they'd come into his office and they'd sit down and go through the enrollment process. So being able to just negotiate or so much, just be able to suggest that practice right there to the DM. Hey, John, one thing that we have done in the past that has worked is just have your computer set up with Zoom, have them come into your office, and then I'll quickly go through the no-cost policies, give them that, and then I'll go ahead and do the needs analysis to determine if there's interest. And worst case scenario, they're going to get the no-cost policies. Best case scenario, we're going to get them taken care of with policies they can afford to keep after retirement. So that's the big thing, too, that I've seen happen, and it's worked out well. They were able to have a 75% participation rate with that, just because the DM was there with the employees physically going out and telling them, hey, guys, next person, come on to my office.
Okay.
Yep. Boom. Good stuff, guys. Good freaking stuff. Whoa! I'm fired up. Let's go. My ears are getting hot. Alrighty. So we've talked about so far, massive action, making sure we're keeping up high levels of activity to keep the pipeline being built up. So when this all blows over, we'll have maximum, even increased results that we had prior. The next thing we talked about is how to overcome, if the DM's remotely working, really just asking for that delegation, seeing who the next person to talk to is. That's going to give you just another opportunity to be able to then get a hold of somebody that has some way of getting some influence. So worst case scenario, you'll then be able to go in and say, hey, Jenny, I spoke to John. He did say that you were the person I need to talk to. And then going about it that way, but because you were referred over to them specifically gives you more credibility. The next thing we talked about was enrollments. How can we get more participation? Ways to do that is just by not being afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask the DM to help you out, to really, because again, the DMs want to protect their employees right now. They want to protect their people because at the end of the day, if their core employees were to fall, something were to happen, I mean, that's putting their business at risk. So just saying, hey, John, I want to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to be protected. but I do need your help. And then start suggesting some ways. Excuse me. Not Corona, I promise. But yes, not being afraid to ask for help from the DM and being able to be that professional and suggesting some recommended practices that'll help that participation go up. All righty. So we got Derek, we got Brian, Miss Amanda.
The only question I have is an objection that I know Babette and Sam brought up to me is so when you're calling and the gatekeeper, you know, says they're working remotely, and this might be the same, you know, answer that you might be giving, but they say no, I'm not able to give you their information, but I'll give the DM your information.
Okay.
So like,
how about this? Instead of asking for a phone number, guys, ask for the email. If you can't get the DM's phone number, ask for the email. Try to get some form of content, and there's actually a specified email. You're not going to give them like brochures. We don't recommend that at this point. There's actually like a link that they can click on that allows them to go through a brief way of just looking at what we have to offer. But if you can't get the phone number, get the contact information, an email for the DM. And then once you get the email, try to ask for the delegation, right? So if you can't get the number, ask for the email. That way they can at least have some form of communication. But when all else fails, just make sure that you know you're continuously. You're not going to get all of them, guys. I want to make that clear, especially because they can't see your sharp faces. They can't see how enthusiastic all you are. So, you know, the expectation you guys have currently is what you would typically see in the field. But because this is virtual, you guys have to really understand that we have to just continuously have that perpetual state of mind or perpetual state of motion to where we're continuously looking for new ways of opening up doors. So if they don't have a phone number, go for the email. If they don't have an email, or when majority of the time they're going to give you his email. I'll tell you that. I mean, they give it to you when you walk in. But if they don't give you an email, ask for the delegation. All right, miss, no problem at all. I know he's a very busy gentleman, but let me ask you this. Who would I need to speak to be able to set a Zoom appointment up to go over how we've been able to help other employers all at no cost? Again, we're going through some uncertain circumstances. I want to be able to help as much as I can. Who would I need to speak to? Oh, now that you said it that way, I can actually transfer you over to Miss Jenny. Hold on a sec. Boom. Miss Jenny answers the phone. You give her the 30-second commercial. Let her know what's going on. You then try to schedule a Zoom appointment. You then influence her well enough to the point where she can then schedule an appointment with the DM to then sit you both in or sit with you and the DM and then get you some influence there. But at the end of the day, guys, it's just a matter of how we're continuously looking for that open door. So to answer your question, go for the email.
Okay.
If they don't, not the email.
Yeah, if they don't give you the phone number or email and they're just like, well, I can give the DM your information. Do we just say okay and just?
Heck yeah, guys. Again, activity, right? So the massive action. It's not just in the phone calls. It's send as many emails as you can in a way where you're at least creating as much opportunity as possible, guys. That's what's really going to get us through this. So if they say, yes, absolutely, not a problem, I'm going to send you an email. Boom. That way, whenever this all blows over, I'm going to go ahead and walk in physical form. When this all blows over, I'm walking in, I'm saying, hey, good morning. Will you let Jack know that I'm here to see him? Right? Then you're able to say, hey, John, my name is Bruce. I actually sent you an email a few weeks ago regarding how we can really benefit your business. I actually am with Liberty National. Did some research prior to coming in, and you guys have actually been killing it even through these times. I mean, what have you been doing to get that going? Okay, great. And then that way, because you sent that email a few weeks ago, that gives you a purpose to then follow up when this all blows over. So creating that massive amount of action creates results, maybe not right then and there, but with time and follow-up, I promise you it'll work out.
Okay.
I mean, that's based on from the experience that you know, from being out in the field, from looking at just other, because I've done my research on other businesses that are going through similar things that we're going through. And that's one thing too that you're all find that they're doing is just that they're creating massive amounts of action. Whether it be, typically if we're in the field and everything's normal, we wouldn't be doing that. But everything isn't normal. This is the new normal. So normally we wouldn't send the email. But because of due to the circumstance, we gotta take that chance. We gotta send that email, make that opportunity. So then that way you'll have something to follow up with. But make sure in your details you're putting in sent email at this time and this date. So you're not having to, forget when you sent the email. So when you pull them up on your follow-up, you're able to say, hey, John, I actually sent you an email on March 15th at sometime in the afternoon. Did you get a chance to look at it? Oh, man, I didn't get a chance to. Hey, not a problem. Again, I'm Bruce with Liberty National. I actually work with employers and so. And you have some time to go over it with you. Maybe step into your office. And then that allows you to, again, but because you did that action early on, you got that result. Maybe not right then and there when you sent that email, but you got it down the road because you were so consistent and persistent with your action.
Okay.
Keep it coming. Boom. All right. So we're here for Miss Amanda. Appreciate Miss Amanda. Is there anything else you would like to discuss?
Not right now. I think that's it.
Freaking awesome. I appreciate you and your input. Thank you so much. Miss Rachel. What's up? Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So you kind of answered the questions I have, except for like when all you can get is their email and you email them and of course you don't hear anything back. Like how many times would you recommend continuing to email them? Before you just wait until things are back to normal and go talk to them in person?
Honestly, that's a good question. I would say based on my research that I've seen from other businesses in the same industry. I mean, Grant Cardone is one that I really started looking into. He's a sales individual, has a lot of gentlemen that sell over the phone. He has emails going out every single day, but they're worded differently each time, right? Because think about it like this. A lot of DMs, I'm sure you guys have over 500 emails right now that you didn't get a chance to read that are left unread, but you're still getting emails from these people, right? You open them up. You may not have opened it up right then when they sent it to you, but let's say 3 weeks down the road, they kept sending them for 3 weeks. And then one day you're like, man, okay, let me pop this open and see what it's about. I pop it open. I find out what it's about. I did this with Adidas. It's funny. I did it with Adidas. Adidas kept sending me just deals in particular styles. I don't wear Adidas all the time, but then whenever I got the email for like the 12th, 15th time, I said, okay, let me open it up. They had like 30% off, something that I didn't think I had interest in. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to buy this now. I ended up buying a pair of shoes. I mean, like,
hey, I have something to add too, Rachel, that might help you. And actually, Tony reminded me of this. You can put the read option. So like when they open that email, you can tell if they've read it or not.
Ooh, that's
so
good.
when you guys send those emails.
That sounds cool.
Awesome
Yeah.
job, Amanda. I like that.
So
Well said.
we'll have to take time to show you, but yeah, use that. It'll help. At least you'll know if they opened it or not.
Yeah, 'cause that'll be cool. If they open it, you can say, hey, John, I noticed that you read my email. And then just kind of come up with a way to really start. Because, again, this isn't scripted, guys. That's where we come up with creative ways of approaching, DMs. The big things that you guys got to remember is, short, simple, but make it very, very, how would I say this? Short, simple, but effective, right? So if let's say a DM doesn't answer your email, say, hey, John, it's Bruce or John, actually, I noticed that you read my email I sent you before. And again, it seemed like you didn't have interest at first, but I really think that if you had a few minutes to really look at the ways that I've been able to help other employers, all at no cost, you would really see the benefit. And again, it only takes about 10 to 15 minutes to go over. You would then send, really looking forward to speaking to you. I would attach your Zoom link in there. Attach your Zoom link, put some form of way that they can actually, or maybe even put the the link that we send out for them to have access to that. Gosh, I took a screenshot of it earlier. Let me see if I got it here. Got it right here. I'm going to share my screen if I can. Can you guys see that? This is on one of the webinars that we posted. So let's say they send me, like if they say send me an email, okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and send you an email and then have a schedule, like a time that you're going to follow up with them. And that's going to be what you want to include in the email so that way they can, and that's, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm actually going to visit that website here. I'll pull it up for you guys. GlobeLikeWorksAtAdvantage.com.
And also, that was actually Terry's idea. I have to give props to Terry on the red email thing because she told Tony and Tony said it to me. So.
Let's go, Terry! Woo! Yeah! All right. We got this right here. This is what it looks like, guys. I'm going to share my screen for a second. Boom. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Boom. It talks about, so business owners, takes them how Liberty National Cafeteria Plan works. Section 125 tells them about Liberty National Division, very similar to our flip book, Globe Life. So this has testimonials. So it kind of talks about that, but it also has some ways of getting some testimonials in there. Right here, boom. Talked about, Trevor Brascom, Vice President of Operations with Home Bank of Arkansas. Letting Liberty National in was a win-win for us. It was definitely a win-win for an employee who benefited from this insurance. It turned into a very big asset to be able to offer the Worksite Advantage to our employees. The next one talks about, this gentleman here. He runs Alex City Grading. As an employer, pre-tax saves me money and allows me to keep quality employees longer by offering them an additional benefit, so-and-so. But guys, I mean, this is what people really want to see. They want to see about our company. They want to see what testimonies there is, and then they'll probably look into our products. They may browse over that, but what's really going to make the biggest impact is what are these other business owners saying? What else do you got, right? So like very similar to when you're looking up a particular product, you're going to look at the reviews, right? Before you invest in it. This is a very simple way of getting your people the information they need quick and easy. Very, very simple. Look at this. Cassie Wyatt, McMaster Therapy Clinic. Part of taking care of your employees is offering the best benefits they can possibly receive. Liberty National has made a significant difference in my own employee's life, and I've seen it firsthand. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bang, baby. That's going to get some smiles in some faces for sure. It talks about billing and payroll. Payroll administrators, worksite online billing system, how that all works, and so that just again allows you to have a consolidated way for your DMs that you want to send some information to have their own way of maneuvering, their way through these information. Because let's say, for instance, we send this information out, a good follow-up to be able to say, hey, Don, I had a chance to send you that information. When you took a look at it, did you get a chance to look at the testimonials on there? And then, you can then say, yeah, Treva, she's actually, she's one that a lot of people can really relate to. The fact that, that we've been able to become a very big asset to help her, offer benefits to employees. So testimonials have been big there. All right. So that sums that up. What questions, comments, or concerns do you guys have on that? Did you guys get it a screenshot? Give me a thumbs up. Thumbs down, sideways. Oh.
My thumb is
Boom.
up.
Woo! All right. Pump. Okay, so now we covered that, guys. In particular, when you're sending an email, recommend having that link in there. Miss Amanda, appreciate your input. Rachel, thank you so much. What else would you like to go over with us? Anything in particular?
I want to share something that Edie shared with me that worked. I tried it today. When we get to the gatekeeper and the gatekeeper says, you want to leave a voicemail, they go ahead and say yes. Transfer it into the voicemail and then don't leave a voicemail. Yeah. And the decision makers are calling back because they don't want to miss anything. So Edie said she did that a couple times, and then I tried it this afternoon, and that worked as well. So I had a call here not too long ago.
What are you saying on the voicemail?
Nothing. You're just hanging up, and they're getting your number from that.
Oh.
Woo! Hey, there you go. I love it.
So you just make sure that it beeps, and then you just leave, and then you hang up. Okay.
Yep.
Boom. So let me ask you this, Terry. When you did have someone contact you in return, what was their? I mean, did you happen to get some really good interaction, receptiveness from it? I would imagine, or was it a little challenging?
You have to ask Edie because I haven't been able to came through just right before this call, so I haven't got a chance to talk
Edie,
to you.
let us know about it.
I did get really good interaction. It just happened that I think one of them was disqualified because they didn't have enough employees, which
okay,
because obviously we're not taking the time to pat call now. We're just doing research and going. The other one, he'd laid every single person off, and he said, I just don't know that I'm even going to be in business, and I don't want to waste your time. So I'm supposed to definitely follow up with them in a few months and see where we're at. So it's activity, but I mean, the ones that have called me back, it hasn't been like big places where I've gone through a receptionist. It's just like I call the business or the number, and it's been forwarded to like their personal number at home. And again, I just don't leave a message, and they tend to call me back.
I like that idea.
I don't know. I only got 4 DMs yesterday, but I booked 2 appointments out of 4. So.
Whoa! Let's go. That gets me pumped. I'm pumped. Oh man. Okay, good. Good. Well, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, guys. That's definitely a good way to kind of get some receptiveness or get an open opportunity. Do you see what I mean? Little things of that nature just come from, having that perpetual state of motion when you're trying to continuously create opportunity. And again, Edie, that's awesome. Thank you. Even that one where Miss Terry was talking about putting that having that red transcript on there when they read it, follow up with them, get them the information. That's huge. That's huge, guys. That tells you guys the amount of talent we got on this team. Look great. Makes me smile. Look at this. Oh man. Well, again, thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else in particular? I mean, I know we've been talking a lot to the ADs, but I wanted to hear from even some of the essays, some of the ADs. Feel free to type it in the chat, or feel free to speak out. We'll make sure to get whatever your questions are addressed. What about you, Mr. Craig? You got that smile on, brother.
All right, I was on mute so I wouldn't interrupt anybody. No, I'm smiling. I've had a lot of success with I'm re-enrolling a school, and I'm using Join Me to virtually enroll. And it seems, the phone conversation, talking to them on the phone has been very conversational. So a lot of rapport building. I mean, we're talking typically 45 minutes per enrollment with an individual, spending that much time just talking about all kinds of stuff. So I think that part for me, it's just really helped being able to do that, virtually, because there'd be no other way to do this re-enrollment. And it's worked out really well, even on the phone. I guess the advantage is, these people I have met before, so they kind of know me already, but just being able to call them up, be conversational, like calling a friend, just talking with your friend, kind of a conversation has really helped a lot.
Hey guys, I would want to recommend, and I love that you brought that up, Craig, is that, when you guys are actually calling, make sure that you're having enough follow-ups. Pull up your qualified leads layer. You can actually go to the legend and clear out all the blue markers and just have the ones that are magenta and go through those and call the ones that you presented to, maybe even ones that you actually got to see, and then you'll be surprised to find that the walk-ins that you had prior were ones that you said you were going to follow up with that you forgot to, and they might have been super interested, but it would have been a better time for you to call them maybe in April, right? So don't be afraid to go though, because not only that, guys, but you have that past relationship, right? Very similar to what Craig said. He knows them pretty well. He's had connection. He's had conversation. And so, that'll be another great way of opening up opportunity during the virtual approach. 100%. Appreciate it, Craig. You're a rock star, brother. All right. Boom. I like it, Tony. Thumbs up. All right, let's hear from someone else. I want to hear it. Come on.
In a way, this has been kind of a positive. I feel like in some ways I've gotten to people that I wouldn't have normally gotten to. And then this afternoon, I had an appointment prior to COVID. She stood me up. She forgot about it. And I had tried to run back and get it rescheduled, and she hasn't been there. So I just keep calling, and today she was finally there, and we rescheduled the appointment for Friday. So but it took less time and effort to call than it would have to drive there, right? So
yeah.
I kind of look at that as a positive.
But Edie, let me piggyback off of that. So here's the deal. Before this all, we were selling insurance and customer service, and that was where the sale was made, and the time was the time. Now, under the model we have virtually, we're selling convenience and expedited timeline. So people, to your point, that otherwise didn't have enough time for you or this, that, or the other, we've compressed it all now. And some of those busybodies that otherwise wouldn't have given us, because when we say 10 minutes, we all know that means 20, 30 minutes, and they know that. But now, when we say 10 minutes, we could literally get it done in 10 minutes if we have to with the virtual options. So to your point, you're touching people now that we couldn't have gotten before because the convenience factor for them is higher. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. If it's harder for us, but easier for them, and it allows them to talk to us, make it harder on me all day long. As long as it's easier on the client, ultimately that's what I'm after.
I like it. Good deal. So I kind of want to spend these last 4 minutes. Well, was somebody going to say something? Boom. Okay. So I just want to take some time and kind of get to hear what big takeaways were grasped from this conversation. Miss Megan, what were those for you?
Just if you can't get a hold of the DM because you can't get their personal phone number, or you've tried calling multiple times and they're not there, but they keep saying, oh, you can email them. It is okay to go ahead and email them at worksiteadvantage.com and try to set up an appointment that way. Because I know that to me has been a big one. The other one is several people that I've been following up with, oh yeah, we're interested, but we don't know what it's going to look like, in a couple months. We don't know how long this is going to last. And then you bring up we have a 60-day enrollment period, so we don't have to do deductions for we wouldn't have to worry about deductions for 60 days, but they still get immediate coverage, so they have that peace of mind. Oh, well, we don't know what it's going to look like in 60 days. Follow up with us in 60 days. It stings because it's not right now, but like you said, you're building your pipeline for 60 days down the road.
100%. Well, I want to recommend. I mean, there's a script particularly for that, and it's just to create some urgency because even if they're having their business run for 60 days, now are you saying that do you feel like you're getting more along the lines of they're going to be closing down, shutting business down, or is it more along the lines of we're going to be letting a lot of employees down or laying off a lot of employees?
It's a lot of, we don't know what's going to happen, and we don't want to start any new deductions because we don't know what the future is going to hold. We don't know how long this is going to hold out. So we don't know if we're going to be laying people off in 60 days, or we don't know if we're going to be back to full scale business. It's a lot of the uncertainty, and the DMs that I've been talking to, they don't want to start any new deductions because, oh, well, what if I have to lay my employees off? Then it's going to be it. It's for them.
Okay. Which, like I said, a majority of them, we have been getting that. There is a rebuttal that will make sure that you open up opportunity in those circumstances. Because at the end of the day, look at it like this. Let's say we do get a chance to enroll an employee or enroll a business that, God forbid, not saying that we're trying to promote bad business by any means, but what we have had happen is people enrolled a business virtually. They canceled after paying their second premium. However, we were able to conserve almost 90% of the policies that we wrote at that business. Right, so you can open up opportunity that way. You can still have them enroll their core employees. Say, hey, I'm going to take care of you, but then you just got to be willing to take on the what comes with it. You're then going to have to make sure you conserve. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's another opportunity. Like I said, it's not so much to look at it as a way of promoting bad business, but you can definitely just understand that you can still create opportunity there, but it's all up to you at the end of the day. But to look at it on a worst case scenario, yes, you're absolutely right. You are building the pipeline. That's good. That's good. What other takeaways did you get from this conversation?
Just definitely ramp up activity. It's a numbers game at the end of the day.
It really is. Awesome. Thank you so much, Megan. You're awesome.
Thank you.
You're awesome. No problem. All right. Miss Terry, what are your big takeaways?
Just the overwhelm them with numbers, just every day getting out there, making those calls and just trying to make it happen,
Not easy. It won't ever be, guys. And just know we're in it together. I believe strongly that, with the leadership that's in place now, we will make it out of this even stronger than we were before. I have no doubt in my mind. But one thing that we just got to make sure we're doing on our end is, leading by example, consistently executing, with activity levels, getting that committed on paper, getting it to your leaders, having them hold you accountable in the process. That's what we've done in the past. That's what's going to get us through in the present. So, Terry, I completely understand the challenge behind this, and just want to encourage you to reach out to your leaders and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is what I feel. Gosh, this is the time to really be doing that. That's going to get us to, build ourselves, build our team, and build each other. 100%.
Yep.
We're all builders in here. Mr. John, I see you unmuted your mic, brother. Tell us.
Oh, well, biggest takeaways. I'm kind of there with Craig on the fact that this has been a great opportunity to build that one-on-one relationship with people, that 45 minutes, and that's helping us build that bridge to the individual market. So I'm real excited. But my biggest takeaway is this is forcing me to learn a 5 to 9 routine and a Saturday routine. And that kind of goes to Amanda's comments about calling in the evening and calling on Saturday mornings. Those are very good times to reach people you're not able to get during the morning or during the day. I used to run a phone center, and it was literally 5 to 9, Monday through Friday, and Saturday mornings 9 to 12. Those are great times to reach a lot of people. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
There you go.
Yeah, no, it's so getting me to refocus on the individual market. This is kind of really helping us attack that individual market. But I wanted to ask the whole group here because the only re-enrollments and enrollments I've got coming up, I've not done anybody brand new yet. That relationship that Craig talked about, you know, having a chance to, you know, have that good rapport with people we may have sat with, or a re-enrollment has been a little easier. It's been very enjoyable, but I've not had an enrollment yet with a brand new company, just virtual. So any tidbits anybody have, I'm going to throw out any suggestions and how to, you know, have, I don't know, I liked your idea of having the DM open up for Zoom and trying to do it that way. Bruce, as you mentioned, the one individual did that, but any other suggestions on warming up the group, warming up the enrollment individually? Anybody out there already been enrolling someone brand new, no relationship?
It's Jen, this year, let us know.
Hey, so Belleville Fire, all brand new, you know, talking to every station every day, pretty much doing presenting to all of them all day, and then going over everything, starting to enroll them. Just
Oh no, Jen?
talk about what they're doing, anything, you know, you just be yourself. You know how to talk to people, and that's just what I've been doing. I mean, it's felt the same as enrolling Porkies, you know, on the phone, just talking to people on the phone, and they're all super nice, understanding if it takes me a minute to get, you know, to a screen, but it's been good. It's been about the same. So yeah.
Boom. Appreciate it, Jen. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. Well, other than that, I mean, overall, guys, I think we've covered a few great things, a great couple of topics to really get our business up and running. The biggest one, guys, apart from everything else, just remember, you guys, you know, the one thing that no other company offers is you. You guys are very unique individuals, and you guys have so much to offer. And just remember, with the proper system in place and the proper path, and the right leaders, we're really going to get you guys to where you want to be. But like I said, you guys are awesome. And overall, that's all I got. Tony, take it away, brother.
All right, guys. I appreciate Bruce. Thank you very much for your time. We'll do this again next Wednesday. There was not a format to this on purpose so that we could have open and honest dialogue. I want you guys to be able to feel like we can have that kind of conversation. I don't want to have to I don't want to sugarcoat things. I don't want to unrealistic expectation things. I want to have real conversation, and ultimately it comes down to, on the field side, how many dials, how many contacts, how many, I've been asked that before. When I was an agent, my focus was never on dials, contacts, or walk-ins. It was solely on appointments. It was on, I need 7 to 10 appointments this week. And I found that every week it seemed that some weeks I could get those 7 to 10 with less points of contact, and other weeks it took me twice as many. But it was a balance. And at the end of the day, or the end of the week, I was after the 7 to 10 appointments. So that the answer to, you know, how many dials, how many calls, how many walk-ins is the right number. Well, really it should be, how many appointments do you want? I want 7 to 10. Well, how many dials or walk-ins do I need to get that? The answer to that is however many it takes to get to that 7 to 10. Focus on the appointments. As you hit those appointments. My 3 takeaways, by the way, since if being fair here, I like the 3 call thing, and I like it spread out. Call them in the morning, and then you got that pre-afternoon call, and then you got that late afternoon to end of day call. So you're giving yourself a chance to actually get that person at the different time frames. Don't call somebody 3 times that week, and all 3 phone calls were at 9 a.m. in the morning, and you call them at 9 on Tuesday, 9 on Wednesday, and 9 on Thursday, and you're surprised why you can't get a hold of them, right? It's the same thing as on walk-in. Would you go to that same walk-in 3 times at the same time? You wouldn't, or you shouldn't. The email, get the email from about the DM instead of the phone number. at least it's a point of contact that we can initiate conversation. And conversation is imperative to having anything positive happen with that business owner, appointment or presentation. And then today's activity produces next month's prospects. Don't live in the moment. Understand that what you're doing, especially on the phone right now, it is more of a pay dividends 2, 3, 4 weeks, and utilize that follow-up. To Bruce's point, was it Magenta? Utilize those hot leads, and that's going to help you as well. So guys, I appreciate your time very, very much. Bruce, I appreciate your time. We'll do this again on Wednesday. Guys, stay safe, stay healthy. I appreciate everybody. We are blessed to have the individuals in this agency that we have, and we are alone together. So thank you very much.
Tony, before we close out, guys, real quick. So I just got a tick because the end of the worksite trainers just had a phone call or a WebEx call, and we need help currently trying to figure out metrics for the virtual enrollment platform. So for those of you that are virtually enrolling this week or going into the second week as well, help us figure out, how much of it was completed, virtually. What was the participation rate that you had? And so if you can help us out, so ADs, you guys can get that information together. That's going to help out the whole company. We're just, like I said, we can't have because that's not something that we can log in Epic, but that'll be something great to have as a metric to be able to give out to people so that they can know exactly what to expect.
Well, it's real data.
Yes.
Bruce, you guys are building it with real data and not like hypothetical. We want to know what you're doing and what that response rate is. And that way, when you're doing webinars, it's with real data and you can set real expectations as of what virtual enrollments can yield.
100%. So, Tony, I'll need your help, brother, whenever, consult with the ADs at this point. I'll send out, just a recap email on that. But like I said, guys, I'm really looking forward to that. Thank you so much. And that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, guys. Good luck. Let's go get it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Bruce. Tony.
Thanks, man.